Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of the Gaming Pubcast. I remembered it this time. That is our second take of that. And welcome, Tom. And yes, I am Duncan because Martin couldn't make this week.
Everyone.
So he is going to be back. We haven't kicked him out. And so, hello, Martin, if you're watching. So it's me, your host, and Tom for his second week. He's now...
And me.
just here, yes. So, Tom, what have you been playing this week?
I have been playing Humanity on the PlayStation 5, which is a Lemmings type game where you're directing characters off of shapes, up shapes, down things. Yeah, so it's an awesome game. It's by Enhanced Games. And I have it on PC, and it screams of Lemmings. But I think we were saying it's a bit more relaxed in the fact that if all your people are falling off the cliff to their deaths, it doesn't matter. There's infinite people. Yeah,
like Lemmings, where you had 50 Lemmings and you had to save 50 Lemmings, for example.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for an update that makes it more like that, though, because I think. It takes away from the challenge in a way, but so that one, and retro-wise, Super Mario Land on the Game Boy original.
Going back to Humanity, is there not like I haven't played it that much, to be honest, because it would start to get a bit hard, and then Baldur's Gate 3 came out. But is there not like an expert mode or something like that maybe those looking for a
not I've played yet. I haven't really explored it too much.
It might unlock something that has that.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, if any old people like us, they like Lemmings. It is basically Lemmings with real people.
Yeah.
And a dog. You control a dog, don't you?
And the dog, yeah, it seems like he's had far too much catnip and seems to be able to leap bounds. So
yes.
Yeah.
He's a... But yeah, it's a fantastic puzzle game, and when you complete a level, there's a great feeling of satisfaction. I love it. Yeah, I do love it. Unfortunately, as I said, Baldur's Gate 3 came along, so I haven't played it for a while, and I think I probably got to about maybe the 20th level, something like that, and it was starting to get a bit complicated. Yeah.
It goes fast, but then you're in this bit where you're thinking, how do I do this? How do I get them to there? And my son seemed to get it quicker than I did. Perhaps it's an age thing.
Is that when you stopped playing? Oh, look, my young boy got it. No, we're not playing this anymore.
It's uncool now.
It's a really good game. So you said Super Mario Land. I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I played both Super Mario Land and Super Mario Land 2, which I remember when I was a young Game Boy owner, it took me weeks and weeks and weeks to finish each one. And I finished them both one afternoon, and then the next day the other one in an afternoon.
Yeah. So, I think it took me an hour to do Super Mario Land. But then I set myself a challenge that was collect everything and get 99 lives. And the only way I was allowed to complete the game is on maximum lives and with the maximum power-ups, which was the throwing of the ball, and collect everything I could find. And I managed the 99 lives, and I managed the ball, but I don't think I managed to collect everything. So that was more like 2 hours. So I'm not a fan of the second Mario game on the Game Boy. Never liked it.
Graphically, although it looked prettier in still images, the actual control of it was not as good as the little stick Mario from the first game.
Mario Land was the first Mario game, bar the CDI games, that wasn't designed by Nintendo, as far as I'm aware. Yeah. So interesting. That's probably why it looks so different and acts so different to any other Mario game.
Yeah, did not know that. There you go, people. A little bit of information.
Yes.
I do love the first Mario game. I remember going on holiday as a young boy, and my family not understanding why I was sitting for hours on this little screen, rather than enjoying. I think it was Wales, so the Welsh countryside. But staying in a nice little cottage and having to literally put wood on the fire, and there's me like.
Using the glare of the fire to be able to see the screen.
Exactly. Oh yes, that's one thing I don't miss is the non-backlit screen. It was not good. But I've seen some really good mods that people do now, and where they're taking the whole thing apart and using just the original shell, really, and people with full color screens and backlit and HDMI out and lithium-ion battery packs and all sorts. So, if you've got a broken Game Boy out there, people, look, you can still get them to work.
Mod it. What about the Analogue Pocket? What do you think of the Analogue Pocket? The new Game Boy thing.
Hang on, that's not the one that you wind up, is it? No. What's that one called? There's that little.
No idea what that is.
There's the handheld games console that you actually control games with a little crank. I can't remember what it's called, but it was ridiculously expensive for what it was, but got good reviews. I can't remember what it's called.
About the same. No, I need to find out. I think it even powers it as you crank it.
What does the Analogue Pocket do? All sorts of. It's a retro machine. It's not just Game Boy, is it?
No, it's Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and all the Game Boys basically and you can take the cartridges, and it runs on original hardware, so it's modern day version of original hardware. It's non-emulation, and then they've got adapters that allow you to play Atari Lynx, Neo Geo Pocket, and various other ones.
It's like the iPhone of retro consoles, isn't it? Really, it's good quality. It's got a lot of features that you wouldn't find in your $3.99 from Wish ones.
No,
a bit better quality than that. So you are paying a lot more, but you're paying for the quality kind of thing.
That's it. And you can rehash your old games from when you were a kid, which is always great in high definition. And I think also it was mentioned they've just released emulators and the ability to sideload on ROMs. So you can essentially carry everything from Atari to Super Nintendo, Mega Drive. And
also, it actually took Game Boy cartridges. It actually takes Game Boy cartridges.
The cartridges, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought
all of the Game Boy variations it takes.
Oh, excellent. Oh,
yeah.
No,
and then on the ROM side as well. So yeah, you're covered completely.
I've looked it up. It's called the Playdate. That's what I was just looking up then. The Playdate is a game console. It comes with a crank. It's just a very little one. And yeah, it got good reviews. It's just it was expensive and a bit weird. It's imagine like a slightly bigger than a credit card, with a crank on the side, and you control some of the games with the crank. I don't think I'll be rushing out to buy one, even though I think. But looking at this, there's one available. The first price I see is $180, so £150, £160 kind of thing.
Well, if you take your Steam Deck into CEX, that's what you'll get for it. So you'll be fine.
I could get a Playdate. Yeah. The one thing is, you wouldn't be able to emulate it that easily, would you? Because you'd have to emulate the crank movement, I suppose. I suppose you could do it with a analog stick, but I can't imagine my Steam Deck will be emulating the Playdate anytime soon.
No, but I think we'll leave that one alone.
Good luck to anyone that has one. The Pocket again. I'm somebody who I can emulate on my Steam Deck, but would I get a dedicated machine for that? probably not, because mainly because there's so many machines out there that I have. And also, if you're going to be a collector, but then this is the opinion I have of, I think, what we're talking next. So I'll keep that to myself for a sec. So tune in about 2 minutes.
Yes.
I have actually bought, this Temu, it's like Wish kind of thing.
Yes.
I have actually bought one of their dirt cheap Game Boy, 400 games in one, just to see how it is and if it's any good that my little boy can have for journeys, like for travel. And it's, at the end of the day, it's one of these, if it doesn't work, I haven't really lost out, because it cost £3.97.
I'm expecting amazing technology.
Well, the reviews of them have been actually, for the price, that it's not too bad. It's a rechargeable battery, it's low resolution screen. It's one of these ones where it's just some very obscure Nintendo games, but it also has, your Super Mario and all these kind of things. So if it works, great. If it doesn't, I've lost £3.97.
Just keep an eye on it when it's charging. Okay.
Yes. I will be. Will only be charging it when I'm around. Yes.
Charge it in the shed.
Plugged in overnight. Definitely not. That is very good advice for people. If you do buy these dodgy things, don't plug them in overnight.
Definitely.
I bought a fanless fan from cooling fan from there as well, and my other half plugged it in, and I was like, no. So we were going to bed, and she plugged it in. I'm like, no, we'll just plug it in tomorrow. It's fine. It'll only take a minute to charge.
I'll fan you all night instead. It'd be safer.
Yeah. So so I will update people on how that is. But right, so we're talking about retro consoles coming out, and it is. I don't know where it's actually released.
It's on pre-order.
It's on pre-order, but is the Atari 2600 Plus, which, if we want a basic version, it looks like an Atari 2600, except it's got HDMI out. It's got like up-to-date insides, but it takes the cartridges. It's a bit like the Analogue Pocket, but for the Atari 2600. So if you have old cartridges, you can play your old cartridges on it. Now, I was thinking, it's going to be a bit like the Atari Mini and the Mega Drive Mini and the SNES Mini and all this kind of thing. But then I saw the price, and it was $130.
Yeah, $130.
And it's £99 in the UK. And it doesn't come with any games, does it?
Not as far as I'm aware, no.
It is just a console.
And I don't think you can
well, it's got 256 megabyte eMMC on it. So I think possibly there might be a future.
Actually, stand corrected. It has 10-in-1 games included in a cartridge.
Oh, on a cartridge, that's it.
And that includes Adventure, Combat, Dodgem, Haunted House, Maze Craze, Missile Command, Real Sports, Volleyball, Video Pinball, and Yar's Revenge.
So, but we are talking about Atari 2600 here. I mean, I don't know about you. You're a retro collector. Do you collect for the games, or if you collect something like the Atari 2600, you either want the games, in which case a lot of people will just emulate or get a device that emulates quite well, or you want the hardware. Because nobody's playing the Atari 2600, but real big fans. Yeah. Nobody's playing the Atari 2600 for the great quality games. There are some classics on there. Your Frogger, your Missile Command and all that.
E.T., yeah.
But well, if you can find a cart of that, they're worth a lot of money. So
I have got one. I'm not a big fan of the Atari 2600. I like the style of it, but I don't like playing it. And although I have owned several of them, I have got rid of them. I'm not a fan. I like the Atari Jaguar, but I'm not a fan of the Woody as they called it back in the day.
So the games now are massively outdated. You only like them really if you've got a rose tinted specs on. They haven't aged well. 99% of them. Yes, a couple of them might be good for 5 minutes. And so if you're getting them for the hardware, if you're getting this thing for the hardware, you're not getting original hardware that's been ripped out. You're getting modern hardware and a modern box. And so I don't know who this is for, especially at £100. Because the big hardcore collectors are going to go, I don't want that. I want the original. And the people who want to play the games probably already have the games somewhere on a device. So, and then I saw also there was a cartridge available that said suitable for the 2600 on Amazon, and it was £25.
Yeah,
I'm thinking if that's a modern cartridge, again, you're paying £25 for a 40-year-old game that you could probably emulate pretty much, let's face it, for free.
There's an EverDrive for the same price, and you can memory card it into the EverDrive and play every Atari game on that system.
Exactly. They're so tiny. You could probably have a 4 gigabyte card and still have enough room for all your favorite music. So I really don't know who this is for, other than people who want something on their shelf to look like they've got an original one. But then
I prefer the VCS.
How much? If I wanted to buy a 2600, like a one that even didn't work, how much would I be?
£30 to £90, depending if it works.
So I could get something that does exactly the same thing,
just into
a CRT TV, and also is original, so is probably going to age, and improve in price. I know. I'm going to be a grumpy old man and say this is not for me, or not for anyone really.
I'm with you.
Other than people who want some to. If I was somebody who had loads of stuff back here and I wanted to fool people into thinking I had a real Atari 2600, like you said, I'd get one that was cheaper, that was an original one, but I could get it, if I wanted to waste that money.
Yeah.
But hey, if people disagree and they want to let us know,
drop it in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
Facebook or wherever else you find us.
So, what did you say? There's a VCS.
There's an Atari VCS that's no longer supported, and it was all digital games. They had a digital Atari library. They promised new games, and then nothing happened. It just fell by the wayside. It lasted 4 years, I think, and it was £300 or maybe more. I'm not sure, but it looked good. It was a nice piece of kit, and it was good for emulation.
That came out in 2021.
Yeah, it just didn't last. I don't know if Atari's name and brand changed hands or what happened, but yeah, they stopped supporting it.
Okay, so it was $299 for the base system and $399 for all-in system. So did that just play all Atari games from that era, kind of thing? The 2600, 7800, is it?
72, yeah. There was various iterations, but you had a couple of games free every month, and the rest you paid about £2 a game. But it's all been shut down. I don't even know if you can access the games any longer. I think if you can pick
it's
one
probably been hacked, hasn't it? Anyway, and that's probably why they shut it down, because the second it came out, I think the 2600 Plus, I was researching it after you mentioned it, and I went on an Atari lovers forum or something, and they were saying they had somebody on there that worked for Atari, and they'd already opened it up and were looking at ways that they could do whatever they wanted with it. So
that's love for you, that is.
Yeah, but at least this one is not an all digital. It's actually trying to hark back to the olden age with the cartridges. And if you can connect it up to a PC and maybe back up games and back up your saves and that kind of thing, maybe that would be a bonus that some people would like. But at the same time, they're Atari games. You can probably find mods and hacks out for them millions of places.
So again, from us, don't bother.
Definitely not. So, there's been a big week for Apple, isn't it? They've been all out on gaming this week, I think. Well, as part of their other things. Personally, I'm a Pixel user. I haven't been an iPhone user since the number 4. We've got my Pixel. But yeah, I had an iPhone 4. That was the only iPhone I've ever had. As a piece of hardware, iPhones are good. They're all right. They're overpriced. It's a closed ecosystem. So, but if you just want to talk text and look like you're rich, an iPhone does what it's meant to do. So, but this week they've, as well as the new phones, it's the iPhone 15. They shared some more about the Vision Pro.
Yes, mostly they were bigging up the fact that the developers were loving it and the feedback was fantastic, and it was all about pushing the ego of Apple. However, what have we got coming? This spatial computing headset that's $3,500 base price. I might add base price.
And I can imagine here in the UK, it's generally, if it costs $1, it costs £1, so it'll probably be £3,500 as well.
Yeah, but
I'm guessing. I don't know.
I mean, you're talking about a headset that you can put on, and you can watch a 200-inch screen watching movies. You can play anything from the Apple App Store, so anything from the iPad to the iPhone. So you can retro game.
Say as well, it's a mixed reality as well, or is it mixed reality or virtual reality? Isn't it?
It's a bit of both, but it does it in a strange way. So if you're watching a movie, you can then change the reality around you and be 1 minute in your lounge, and the next minute you can be sitting in a lake, surrounded by a lake, and the screen will be, above the lake as such. Or you could be in the Grand Canyon, and it's a live picture and it moves and things like that. So it's a very unique way of doing things, and it's, I think, 28 million pixels.
I don't know whether it's unique. I mean, they're certainly. I mean, it's going to be Apple quality, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that is certain. And if you're paying that much, it's got to be good. And it's got to be, because generally iPhone users and Apple users are not tinkerers. They're not somebody who wants to go, I've got to do this, I've got to do this to be able to do that. They want to pop it on and go, I want to sit in the Grand Canyon, please. Bink. And I want to watch the latest movie on a 300-foot screen in the Grand Canyon. Bing.
I see the worth in it. I do see the worth in it, but £3,500.
Yeah, no.
No thanks. This, I don't know.
I mean, if somebody wants to give me one for free, I'll test it out to no problem. But yeah, £3,500. It's an Apple product, and again, people pay a premium for the iPhone, for the Apple quality, the Apple ecosystem, and people will buy this. And I think it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to die a death and no one's going to buy it because it's £3,500, or it is going to help the uptake of VR and AR in cheaper, more accessible headsets. I mean, we've got the Meta Quest 3 coming out, which you've got Quest 2. I've got Quest 2 here via my stepson kind of thing. And those are both great. But would you pay, the Quest 2 is £299, I think, brand new over here. Would you pay double that amount for a Quest 2?
Well,
would you pay £600 for a Quest 2?
Yes, if it came with a heightened realistic spec. So, for instance, and I'm not a massive Apple fan here, but interesting specs. Total pixels on the Vision Pro, 23 million. The Meta Quest Pro, which is the one that failed, essentially, they were giving them out for free at a recent developer conference. It has 6.9 million pixels. So it's a
Oh yeah,
massive
it's
jump
going to be
up.
good. But my point
Yeah.
is, would you pay 10 times as much for what you can get at a little, at a less quality? I think I looked up recently. The Meta Quest is going to be £479. So I can imagine it's going to be around the $500 mark for our American friends. And would you pay 9 times as much for one that I can't see myself ever, unless I was a billionaire kind of thing, and I could probably buy 10 of them. No, I think a lot of people are going to go, "Oh, that's a toy for kids," kind of thing. That's a lot of people who don't game, who don't understand VR and what you can do with it. Just see them as little toys for gaming for kids.
Yeah. I wonder if you'll be able to access the PlayStation app and the Xbox app to play your games on the Vision Pro, and sit there in that reality and play those games, those retro collections, those modern collections.
Well, from what I've seen, I mean, obviously you'll be able to use a browser, and if you've got a browser that supports things like GeForce Now, Xbox Cloud Gaming, you're going to be able to play your games on a 100-foot screen in the Grand Canyon. But
then this one will review.
You could do that in any other handheld. It's a bit like, that's why cloud gaming is so accessible, because you can have a 5-year-old phone was mid range when it came out, and you can play the latest Xbox games. You can play Starfield on your phone right now. If you have Xbox Cloud Gaming, you can have a rubbish old TV and stick a smart stick in it, and hey presto, you're playing Starfield. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll be able to also natively, because it will be powerful. It will have a good chip in it. It'll have a mobile chip in it because of cooling and obviously everything. But yeah, so it won't be playing Starfield natively on the Vision Pro or whatever. But yeah, so playing a browser 100 foot, you'll be able to stream things.
Mario 1.
100 foot Super Mario Land on the Game Boy in the Grand Canyon. Just sounds like heaven.
Interestingly, it's not a wireless headset though.
Is it not?
It has a magnet. I don't understand, and correct me if I'm wrong here, listeners. It's a magnetic strip that attaches to the side of the headset, and it has a battery pack. Yeah, it has a battery pack that sits in your pocket, and that allows you.
So it's basically a reduction of the weight on your head.
Exactly.
I suppose you could say that is a good thing. Yeah. A lot of people find headsets uncomfortable, so it means then you've only got the screens and the computing basically on your,
and the spooky Apple eyes. Have you seen the spooky Apple eyes?
I haven't seen the Apple eyes. I've seen the Vision Pro, but I haven't seen it on somebody yet. Really?
So it takes it's almost like a ultra realistic animated version of you for video calls, and it takes the eyes from that. And if anyone walks into your vicinity of where you are, it shows them your animated eyes. And originally people thought it was the person's real eyes and it was being shown through the screen. It's not. It's an animated pair of eyes to allow for connection with people. And it's spooky as hell. It really is.
Oh yes. I'm just looking at that now.
It's really spooky.
It's almost like it's I mean, they're very much advertising style pictures. They're not. Oh God! There's a screen grab from the advert I'm looking at, and it's got this woman who's just got sort of. They've paused it at the wrong time, so she's got the worst smile. But yeah, no, that would be creepy. It's a bit like when someone sleeps with their eyes open, and they're like staring at you.
I like the idea of the 3D pictures you can take. So you can actually take a picture on the headset, and you can watch these 3D pictures back, and it's almost like a sci-fi movie. And I think there was a Tom Cruise movie where he did the same, and he was looking at videos of his kids from years ago, and it's the same sort of thing. You can play back 3D pictures of birthday parties. Sort of thing.
I'm going to say Minority Report.
Minority Report, that's the one.
Yeah, his kid died, didn't he, in the swimming pool?
It. Yeah, but I like that idea. It's a bit spooky again, but isn't all new technology.
Now, here's an idea. Could you imagine Kinect mixed with a VR headset? So you could actually get your hands in, rather than a controller and see virtual hands, an actual Kinect 2.0, get the Xbox One version and connect that up with that would be great. So you could actually see your physical hands and arms and whatnot.
I'd like that. I've tried that on the Quest, and unfortunately for me, it doesn't pick up what I have of a right hand.
So you can actually connect up connect.
No, it actually has motion controls now, so it actually picks up your hands, and you don't need to use a controller.
Oh, with the cameras on the front.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't do it with my right hand. So obviously I don't have any fingers on my right hand, but it's really, really responsive and really, really good. So, but obviously you don't have any other physical body. So if you're kicking something or whatever, that doesn't work. So that's no good.
Okay. I think that might be a thing that's coming more in things like the Quest 3 and the Vision Pro and all these, that they have the way they can see, they can. I think the Vision Pro might have it where I have no idea how it works, but maybe like a laser sort of kind of thing where it can actually simulate what things are in front of you. If there's a table in front of you, it could make it like blocks in Minecraft, or it can make it look like something else in a game or in a lobby of some kind.
There's a game coming to the Vision Pro, and I will get the name of it. It's already on the Quest. It's a Dungeons and Dragons type game. And I'm going to try and get the name. And you basically throw your dice, you do everything you need to do. But the Vision Pro is going to have that as a game on its release, and I think they showed an image of it playing on a table, and you had friends all wearing Vision Pro headsets around you, and within it you had all these characters like the dungeon master, the wizard, the knight, and
that would be cool
and stuff. It's really, really good. And the game that you have on the Quest version of the game is also fantastic if you have the patience to play it.
D&D game Meta Quest. I always wanted the Microsoft's AR headset, because they advertised that originally. Is it called Demio?
That's the one, Demio. Yeah.
There you go. Oh yeah. It's a proper sort of tabletop and everything.
Yeah.
So can you play it online, kind of thing?
Yes, you can play with friends, and
good.
Maybe
imagine that with the Vision Pro though. Can we all 10 of us get together with our $35,000 worth of headsets?
I think that'd be interesting, but
just have everybody around for an online,
for a non-social gaming session.
Yeah, just all sit there with your headsets on and say, I'm just going to spend $35,000 so we can not talk to each other, but then go online and talk to each other.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah. So, I think it's a big fat no. I'm never going to get it, but hey, if you want to promote VR and you've got the money, why not? It will probably work very well, and it will probably be very good. I mean, I may not like Apple for me, but for many people, if you've got the money, why not? It's up to you. It's just if you like to tinker and like to be able to do what you want with your device, Don't care.
Go Apple. I'm with you.
Yes.
If you want to join in the discussion about the Vision Pro, join us in our Facebook group. And we've got a post on there at the moment, and share your thoughts on it. Is it the future of VR and AR gaming? Is it going to push the industry forward? Is that deliberate?
I think it will help. It will definitely help VR. I think it will go that way, but could be wrong, and it could absolutely kill it. But Apple wouldn't release something unless they were going to at least support it for a little while. Then they'll, I don't know. So, I think we've been going for 35 minutes already. So, we've been talking about retro games you played earlier. And one thing I didn't talk about what I've been playing, other than Starfield. I have been playing Starfield a lot, which I've got a lot more into it. I've actually finally, after about 25 hours, made an outpost, which is a very basic one. But I've seen pictures of people building whole buildings and whole star ships and all this kind of thing. And there's me, and I've just put a little bit of extra cargo on mine, on my ship. And I've basically put a mining machine down on a planet, and that's it. So I haven't done much more of that. Still a great game. If you like Fallout, get it. But I did do a lot of emulating thing on my Steam Deck. So some good games and some bad games. I decided to install 24 the game for a PS2 game. Oh my god, it's terrible.
It's not a good game.
No, it would be good, except for it has a rubber band camera. So you're fighting constantly against it turning. You're turning to the right, and it turns to the right, but there's somebody still to your left, and you can't turn around and shoot them while walking away, kind of thing, without it trying to turn away from that person. And they use instead of R2 and L2 for aiming and shooting, they use R1 and L1, which with the Steam Deck, you can change that no problem.
Yeah.
But, oh my God, if you had to play it on the PlayStation 2, it was so annoying because every time I wanted to aim, I was pressing L2. And then I was pressing R2, and I'm like, what's going on? Nothing there. They're not doing the right thing. So, 24, the video game, because I loved 24. It was great. Well, the first 5 series were great. So I was thinking, I'll enjoy that. No, I couldn't even be bothered after a while. It actively fights against you doing well on the game. But then I installed Soul Calibur 2. And oh my God, that game is still so good. Obviously,
still good.
Yes. Well, I played the Nintendo, the GameCube version, because it has Link in it. Because the PlayStation 1 had Xbox had Spawn in it, I think, and PlayStation had, I can't remember. I will find out, but they all had, each version had their own individual specialist characters, and so I wanted to play the Link one, and it's a bit rubbish to be honest, but yes, such a good game, and all the buttons were all a bit messed up, not how I remembered it, but yeah. So if you want a good game with your friends, a good fighting game, you still cannot beat that game. Soul Calibur 2. I played 3. I played 4. I think, what is there out now? 6, I think, was the last one that came out about 3 or 4 years ago. They're all right, but you can't beat 2.
Nothing beats that one, I think. And
I think it as well, for me, it brings back a lot of fun memories of playing with friends, sitting in a very smoky room kind of thing. Well, all trying to beat each other and learning the 10 move combos, and so we could try and get that in. And you'd lose because you were playing against friends who were practicing as well. You'd lose about 10 rounds on the trot because you were trying to get that 10 move combo in, and it all it was just great because eventually you would get that 10-move combo in, and they just couldn't stop it, and you absolutely destroyed them in one move. Loved it.
I remember those.
I can't remember those moves anymore, but
now it's just hit what you can and hope for the best. So
yeah.
If the arthritis didn't stop you, of course, and how that works. When I remember back in the student days playing international track and field on the PlayStation 1, the button bashing. If you get the combination just right, you can sprint really fast. And you're playing against 6 of your friends or 4 of your friends, whatever it was. And it was an amazing game to play.
Well, the track and field type games, what you used to do was you'd have one person who would be I used to be really good at their fast tapping. So I'd have a friend who would do the jumping or the throwing or the hurdles or something like that. So I'd be like, just constantly barraging the buttons while they would just tapping and holding and whatnot. So yeah, in the arcades that was, but then you say about international track and field, but Daley Thompson's decathlon, that's where it's at. I mean, Daley Thompson is a
I have that upstairs, and I have to say, it is a favourite.
But playing it with the rubber keyed Spectrum 48K was not the best experience.
Many a Spectrum died from that game.
Oh yes, I think we might have actually had to have ours repaired because of it.
And that's where Amstrad definitely comes into play here, because no Amstrad broke from playing that game.
I don't think generally didn't Amstrad come third in the it was like Commodore 64 sold the most, and then Spectrum, and then Amstrad.
Yeah, unless you were in France or Spain.
Yeah,
so
that's very specific.
they were the top selling, and interestingly, I think I don't know if it was the French or the Spanish version. There was some hoo-ha about how they could sell this product, so they added a bit of extra memory on there to enable them to sell the Amstrad as a different model. I don't remember fully what it was, and it was a plus. It was a CPC 464 plus whatever, and it had this tiny bit of extra memory in it, and it did nothing. But it allowed them to sell it in those countries. And I think it was a tax thing. I don't know. Interestingly, did you know? And if you don't know, listeners, we live in Essex, and me and Duncan, that is, and just down the road from us is the original Amstrad site where they did all the Amsoft games. They created the Amstrad 464, and when they emptied the warehouse, they dumped about 200 to 300 Amstrads and boxes of sealed accessories and Amsoft games, and you could freely just walk in there and just lift them out the skip, and off you popped. So,
what year are we talking here? Are we talking when adults?
Early 90s.
Okay. See, I'm not an Essex boy. I'm not originally from Essex. I do live here now, and I have lived here for 18 years. But no, I'm originally from the Midlands, up in that neck of the woods. So talk like this. So that would have been awesome. It's a bit like that when we talked about the ET game, and they did actually find, didn't they, the landfill. They were searching for the landfill, and I think they found a lot of it. But that they couldn't get rid of them because it was so bad. It nearly killed the video game industry.
It did.
And, although it was slightly unfairly blamed, wasn't it? Because it was generally there was a lot of that going on, kind of terrible games and big budget.
And they only gave the guys 6 weeks, I think it was, to get the game out, and that was pressure from the studio and from Atari to.
Yeah, I think there's on Netflix. There's the high score, and they've got an episode about the ET game or details about the ET, and it's quite interesting. If you research that, people look it up on Netflix, on YouTube. It's quite interesting. The guy met Steven Spielberg, didn't he? And Steven Spielberg was like, "Yeah, I want this game. Do this game," and it was one guy who was rushed.
It was pretty bad. I think don't get me wrong, it was never the worst game ever. I mean, for me, the worst game ever was Trapdoor on the Amstrad.
Was what on the Amstrad?
Game. Trapdoor. Remember
Trapdoor? As in the cartoon?
Yeah, but
there's
where's my
that
dinner?
trap door because there's something down there.
Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't know that is
that
just
game
going to
was
think
great.
we're going crazy right now. There is a cartoon from the 80s, 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
it's like a
80s.
plasticine
Yeah.
claymation kind of animation. And it's had a
Yeah.
trapdoor. There's Burke. Bring me my food. Yeah. So
And wasn't Hagrid Robbie Coltrane the voice, if I remember rightly?
was he?
He was involved in
I don't know.
vocalizations. I may be very wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he was involved in some way.
.com trapdoor. Right, anyway, so we've digressed a little bit. No, it was Willie Rushton.
Willie Rushton. There we are. Stand corrected on that.
So yeah, and Drut was Nick Shipley. So yeah, good old Willie Rushton is a name that nobody will remember unless you're over the age of 40, probably.
I'm sure he has a giant character of the character from That in His Lounge somewhere.
I don't think so, because he's been dead for 27 years. So
had.
Oh, that'd be cool. Though I'd love a trapdoor sculpture.
So would I.
Right, shall we get on to this day in gaming? Because I think we've been going on for 46 minutes. But yeah, we have quite a big one this week, because we have not a game. We have a console. 22 years ago, wasn't it? Hang on, just
the GameCube.
Getting it up. The GameCube, 2001, came out in Japan. 22 years ago. Does that make you feel old? Did you have a GameCube?
I still have it.
What, the original one?
The original one, yeah. So
it
came with
the
Super
one that you
Mario.
had as from 2000 and whatever. You still have. Excellent. Still have. There we go. Very good.
Works. Still boxed, and it came with Zelda and Super Mario.
Which Zelda?
I can't remember. But
we need Martin for that, don't we?
We do, but it was and Super Mario Kart Double Dash, which was an absolutely brilliant Mario Kart game. So good machine, terrible controller, interesting add-ons.
I'm totally with you with the terrible controller. I've only ever tried it a few times, and no, I can never get used to it. Never. No.
And it didn't compete with the PlayStation at the time, because it didn't play DVDs. But there was later a version released that had a DVD player in it. I think, was it by Toshiba? I could be wrong on that one. It was a silver machine, and it did have a DVD player built in. But you can mod the GameCube to play DVDs.
I remember when they announced it and they showed it off, it was meant to be this thing that unfolded as well, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm sure I saw. I remember there being things where it unfolded and it opened up. It was probably a special sort of, this is showing off the insides of it or something. But yeah, so obviously all the games that came out with that, although like Luigi's Mansion came out 22 years ago as well. Another big one, God, and this makes me feel slightly old, because 19 years ago, Fable came out on the original Xbox. Now, even though obviously Xbox was same kind of era as GameCube, that just feels like it shouldn't be that old.
Xbox doesn't feel that old at all.
No, because it is the new upstart. It feels like it should be younger.
Yeah,
but no, nearly 20. Next year it'll be 20 years since Fable.
What was the other one I saw in here a second ago? Ever played Luigi's Mansion?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we seem
which is strange.
Lost
of all the retro games. I've never played that one.
So I'll just chat for a bit. Well, we've got The Sims 2 came out 19 years ago. That's another one. 19 years ago. I got that when it came out.
The 3DS 9 years ago. Super Mario Bros. On the 3DS.
Yeah,
and
so
the Wii
generally
U.
these are all here to
So you
make
had
me
the 3D
feel
version on the 3DS.
Halo reached
and the
13
normal
years ago.
version
That
on
makes
the
me feel
Wii
a
U.
little less old. But yeah, 13 years ago. That's not too bad.
Tekken Tag Tournament 2, 12 years ago. Wow.
Animal Crossing on the GameCube, 21 years ago. I'm presuming that was Scribblenauts on the DS. Oh, loved that game. Right. Anyway, so, well, better call it a day then, because unfortunately we lost Tom, and we record this in one fell swoop. So catch up next week, and yeah, we'll hopefully there'll be three of us, not two of us, or as it is now, one of us. And like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff, and we will see you next week. Bye.